You watch out, watch out. Why is it not picking him up? Maybe he hasn't done it yet. Maybe he's not. Let's see what's going on here. After that, run Zoom, then enter your meeting. You done start yawning because you done got wore out. 380-258-4303. After the download completes, run Zoom. I already got Zoom. Why do I keep doing this? I don't understand that. I already got Zoom. And Zoom is open. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
It says join a meeting. What's that? Join a meeting. I'm here, Oliver. Can you hear me? I don't know why I have trouble getting in.
I can hear you and I can see you. You guys are good.
Yeah, but I don't have a big picture of you. I'm trying
Look up in the top right-hand corner under this view and change it to gallery view.
it's a little bitty screen. It's just still a little bitty screen.
When you hit gallery view,
It's not showing that. It's just showing. I don't know why I'm having trouble getting on.
you don't have the view that you had when.
No, I'm trying to figure out why.
Yeah, the gallery view is what you need to have in terms of the view. So when you look up in the top right-hand corner.
Now I got it. I just got it.
What was the issue?
I don't know, and it still got in the middle of the screen, leave meeting or cancel. So I don't know what the issue is. You'll have to help me with that later.
Yeah, just cancel that. You don't want to leave the meeting.
Right. So I'm not sure what caused it, but anyway, we're good now.
Okay.
Can you see Pastor too?
I can see him full body,
Good.
shoulders, and yep, that's
Okay.
perfect. That is perfect.
Okay. It's when I get a link, it takes me out to some screen like I need to install Zoom, and I already have it.
Yeah, I'll look at that. Sunday.
So do you go into Zoom before you?
No, when I click on the link to join meeting, it takes me into the meeting and gives me the option to log on with the audio on the computer. That's the only option I have to choose.
I know it takes me all around the world. I'm not sure why, but
Why you sweating so much?
Oh, I just took a shower.
Oh,
I took a shower.
it didn't do no good the way you was sweating.
I know it.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Bill.
Oh, I don't know why I'm not hearing you.
Oh my goodness, look.
Um,
And look at that man.
hold on just a minute.
he's trying
I'll be
to
right back.
hear us.
Yeah, he got to log back in. He came in couldn't hear us. These things are really temperamental, so it's not a lot of times it's not the user error.
There's Lisa.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, look
Hey,
at that.
Lisa.
Ooh, Miss Lisa, I see you.
Come on. Also, he'll probably be on the right thing.
I see.
Yeah, he came
Hi,
on and he
darling.
get off.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Hey, darling.
Oh my God, I love you two so much, and you, Oliver. I love you all.
Okay.
And you,
hear me now?
Bill. I love you too.
Lord have mercy, look at
Why do
you.
I can't hear you?
Yeah, you can. I'm gonna
And
come
look,
on,
I should
and
be
he's
able to
the,
hear you.
I'm gonna come on and rub that. I'm gonna go in and rub that old bald head.
Can y'all hear me?
yes,
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can smell you too.
Watch out now.
and he's the technology guru.
Let's
And
see. Looks like I'm all
Oh
hooked
Lord, I
up
need
over
somebody
there.
to hold my hand the whole time.
you're doing good.
I think I
You
am.
look so familiar to me.
Yeah, it looks
This
like I
is
see you
on.
on television.
You there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try this. Let's see. Hold on. I'll get a different headset.
Says my internet is unstable. Let me just hold on 1 second here too. I'm
He just froze up.
gonna click, but let me just see what happens.
Everybody froze, ain't they?
No. They're just.
They are. Yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, anytime you're in a live environment,
Yeah.
these things can happen.
I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm back.
Who's that lady's name we talked to today?
Liana. I don't know her
Oh,
last name.
you familiar with Leanna, right? Can
I'm
you
sorry,
hear-
what?
Are you familiar with Leanna?
Nope.
She's one of the follows that goes through the course.
She's one of the members of your course.
Yeah, but anyway, she may not know her personally.
She told me she was a bariatric nurse or something like that today.
Anyway, we had a call from her. So
What's her last name?
Lynette?
wait a minute, I'll tell you. I wrote it down.
I know a Leanne Beer.
I can't remember if that's her name or not. Just a sec. I didn't write her name down. I'm sorry.
The first name is Leanna.
Yes, the first name is Leanna.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the nursing, some kind of medical field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm sure there's more people that know Lisa than
More.
Lisa knows.
Leanne Moore.
Leanne Moore.
Nope. I mean, I may know. Maybe she's in a group or something, but I
She
don't know.
is. She
Oh,
is.
she is.
Yeah,
She
she
is.
is.
And
Yeah.
she connects with you, and she knows a lot about the Catholicism, Catholic, and
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Can
she's
you all hear me now?
Yep.
yeah. You look like the guy I just finished talking to.
Yes.
Hi.
Nice to meet you face to
I'll
face.
tell you, boy, you're a sight for sore eyes.
You look familiar. I don't know
Thank you.
why. You do. You do.
How long you been that person?
How long have I been this person?
Yeah.
66.
Oh, get out of town for sundown.
I know.
You're just a spring chicken.
I know. It feels pretty good to be in this body. I'm okay with that.
Oh, I don't know about mine, boy. I tell you, it's been a mess of
I know,
chitlins.
72 years. I don't know.
You don't a mess of chitlins in a steak plate. I'm telling you the truth.
But we're glad you guys talked to us.
I've always said that Bill's younger than me. Like he's 14 years biologically older.
Yeah.
But Bill is energetically like a 25-year-old or something.
Right.
I've always felt like I'm with this young man.
Well, we're exactly 9 months apart, almost to the day. And I said he was being born when my mom and dad were getting busy.
Okay, nice. And you were outside of the frame and you're like, I'll be right there.
I told her I should have married her when she was born. I stepped in a puddle of her and got all over me. I've been smelling like her ever since.
That's funny.
Going around smelling each other.
I know we're going to overwhelm you guys, so go ahead and ask us whatever you want to ask.
No, don't ask me nothing. I'm gonna tell you something. Hey, look, y'all, how long y'all been married now?
I think we met in June of 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just come out of a marriage and I basically said never again. Like I had always had a sort of with men, it was never a good experience. And I shouldn't say it was never a good experience, but I always felt like I was attracting guys that, needed a mother, and
Yeah, I understand.
I worked hard in relationships. And so when I got out of that marriage, I said never again.
Yeah.
And I have a friend of mine, Greta. She's a just beautiful, wonderful friend who's very connected spiritually. And she said, whenever you say never, you can be sure it's on the way.
Mhm,
Oh, yeah.
So I
mhm.
met Bill in June 2010, and I was like, not interested. Oh, hi, Yolanda.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, never, not doing it. Nope, not interested. And Bill was like, okay, we'll just be friends then. And we were just best friends. And then I think I realized was in love with him in
You realized.
March.
That's
Yeah,
like our story, too.
it was like this
Yeah,
moment.
she was gradual.
Oh.
No, it was, he sent me a letter. So we met in June of 2010. He sent me this love letter in January 2011.
Oh,
It said,
wow.
I love this about you. I love this about you. I love this about you. I love the way you do this. I love this. I love this. I love this. And I was like, oh no.
Can you guys see baby girl on the
She
bed?
goes,
Can you guys see
Mom.
I know my mother was with me, and I was reading it on my cell phone. And then
Can you see the dog on the bed between
oh,
us?
so sweet.
That's little girl. That's baby girl.
Yeah, that's baby girl.
She's watching us.
Hey, look, when I met her, I was an alcoholic.
Yep.
So I wasn't completely in my mind when I met her, but I worked at a service station, and we went to the grocery store.
Well, you're skipping a lot of parts.
What?
You're skipping a bunch of parts.
What part?
But we can't tell them everything. That'll be
Well,
here all
anyway,
day.
that's all right. So anyway, she was in the grocery store getting something off the counter, off the shelf, and I bit on the neck.
Yeah, it was real fresh.
I
Oh my God.
So after that initial meeting, I ran from him every time I saw him.
That's hilarious.
She was sitting, I was working at the service station and greasy coveralls.
Yeah,
We sitting on 2 5-gallon wax cans in a panel truck with
yeah.
her cousin husband. They were trying to get us together, but I was trying to get a message to her to see if she was in her grounded position. So after that, I didn't think I was gonna meet her, but she was an R&B singer running around to these chilling places.
Oh,
singing.
He always tells everybody that I wasn't popular. I wasn't
Yeah, she
famous
was.
or
They
anything.
used to sing all the Diana Ross songs.
We just sang. That's it.
How long have you been married for?
50 years. Be 51 in August.
She been married to me. She proposed to me, and I decided to agree with her.
But yeah, 51 years this August.
He looked at that. Yeah, we dated for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
2.5 at least.
2.5, yeah.
And I was working in R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, and she told me she's gonna find me. I didn't give her time. I went to see her. You know, when I went to see her, she took advantage of me.
Okay, now
She
quit.
did. She did. She took advantage of
He
me.
likes to tell everybody
And
that.
she told me when she proposed to me, she said, "If you don't get married, I'm going to California, and I'm gonna throw
Well,
you."
that part's true.
And she said, "I'm gonna throw you in the trunk."
That's hilarious. That's so good.
You see, she trying to be smart now. See, she thinks she's smart. I thought she was stuck up, and she was.
That's stuck up.
Ain't changed a bit. Ain't changed a bit.
That's one person's opinion.
Well, that's all right. We were foster parents.
Yeah.
And,
We've never had our own children
Yeah.
biologically,
Yeah,
but we fostered about 3 or 4 kids and
Okay.
adopted one of them
Yep.
and had godchildren. So it's been just the 2 of us and the dog most of the time.
I've been working trying to do what it takes to get one, but it
Oh,
didn't work.
come on.
I mean, it's just like that, you know. I thought I was pretty straight, but I wasn't, evidently. But we made it. Our
You're
marriage.
gonna overwhelm me.
I'm gonna wham you. Our marriage is not based on children and family. It's just
Right.
based on us being together.
Mhm.
And besides, if she put me out, I ain't got nowhere to go because all my people in the family, they're on the other side. And if I go over there, I ain't wanting to come back. So that's the end of that story. But
Do you all live in North Carolina, close to each
yeah,
other?
yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, and Oliver is about, and Yolanda are about, what, an hour away from us, Oliver, or hour and a half?
An hour away. Okay.
50
Yeah, they
minutes.
live down on a dirt road.
It's about an
50
hour.
minutes.
How much?
50 minutes.
Yeah.
But you come, Oliver, you drive over on Sunday morning?
Yeah. he
Sunday
does.
and Tuesday.
Yeah.
And Tuesday.
No, Tuesday too. Okay, wow.
Sunday,
Yeah,
Tuesday.
Yeah. But this has all happened since the
COVID.
pandemic started. We were not doing any live streams at all. Pandemic, honey.
pandemic.
Yeah.
The damn panic.
The damn panic. Yes.
Yeah, the damn panic.
We were not doing live stream. We had done it maybe a month or more of Sundays and stopped because we didn't really want to continue it. But when the pandemic broke out, we started doing it because we closed the church down.
Yeah.
And Oliver jumped in and really started to help us to set it all up and get us going, and really been encouraging us to do it for a long, long time.
See, Oliver family came to us when we were in a large building, $1,280,000 building. And we had 500 people, and we were going to build and structure. And so I got over into this thing. Every once in a while, I go into talking about union with Christ, our oneness with God. And every season, we would bring somebody in to speak, and they would talk about that stuff.
And you ran across Judith Baldwin.
Judith Baldwin. I don't know whether you know her or not.
She was a teacher of the course, and
she was.
You befriended her. I don't know
Yeah,
how you guys
on the telephone, just like we are with you, but we didn't see her.
And eventually she came to our church and she spoke with us. And I think Oliver and Yolanda came at that time.
Yeah.
And that was
2005.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Was that your initial introduction to the course?
Yeah.
I went and bought the book the next day.
Yeah. And we had the book, but we had not read it through.
I bought 2 copies and 5 or 6 were the translations of the course. A guy named Norman Grubbs, Union Life Ministry. My search was to find out from the biblical, scribical point of view as to how could I get the manifestations of the Spirit in my life like it was with Jesus.
Yeah.
And besides, I wanted to see him in person.
Yeah.
And he did. He let me see him.
And at that time, we were basically just church minded.
Church hall. We were
church minded and
church drunks.
Okay. And so, but before
the doors open, they were there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So, but before we ever pastored a church, we both have had spiritual experiences that didn't necessarily fit within the framework of Christian church. So it always kind of put us right on the edge of what everybody else was teaching. And so it was our folk that followed us always say we were about 5 years ahead of everybody else. So because we were talking from those experiences, and those experiences gave us so much so many imparted lessons.
See, I met Jesus in a liquor house. Sure did.
Are you trying to shock him or not?
No, I'm just telling you where it was. I just saw him. I met him in a liquor house, and I wasn't expecting to see him.
That was your initial conversion, yeah.
But I used to go up on the school ground of a elementary school, and there was a big rock up on the hill up there, and I used to go up there, walk up there, and get on that rock like a picture I saw of him praying in the Garden of Gethsemane. And I would go up there and talk to him, and then I'd walk back home. And then when we finally started dating each other, whenever I did something that she didn't like, I'd go up on the rock and pray about it.
Yeah.
That's the way it was, I want to make sure I'm in line with this girl. But so anyway, the whole thing started. I want to tell you guys, Miss Lisa, you and your husband, I found out that all of the experiences that we went through, even from in the birth canal, everything that we experienced from the time of the womb, even before then, to get to where we are now, God was using it to bring us to where we are now.
Yeah.
And it revealed to me how, like the prodigal son, he was, I'm going to say this is really crazy, he was in us, as us, hid in the deep recesses of our superconscious identity, waiting for the moment for the right assignment of the contracts that we agreed with in that other side for this event to take place, the culmination of all of this. And so when I tell people this, that it's no way you can move or do anything with or without the knowing of God that you can move without him. I mean, it's just that way.
Yeah.
And so
but there were a lot of things that led us up to that.
Yeah.
And the spiritual experiences that I'm speaking of, I'll give you an example. We both, because we were in what we call an apostolic holiness church. This is what we started in. And the term holy rollers, we were in that kind of environment. We had one night, we would always pray before going to bed. And this particular night, we prayed in my mom and dad's bedroom while they were about to go to bed.
Just coming out.
We were staying with them, and we were staying upstairs, and we would pray. So we ended up with praying before going to bed, and we both had this vision. It really was more than a vision, but we both saw Jesus Christ. And there was, when we first got married, because he would always want to go into a closet to pray, underneath the stairs, I fixed him a prayer closet where he could just go in and sit. It had its own desk and everything in it. So every night he would come down the stairs, my husband would come down the stairs and go in that closet.
Always 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
And spend time there. So when we had this, I'll call it a vision for the sake of not having a better word for it. We saw Jesus come down the stairs. We were in the bedroom with my mom and dad, but it was like we could see through the walls and things. He came down the stairs in a robe that wasn't, it was like we looked it up later.
Fine linen.
It was a very fine linen robe, and it was
really expensive.
It was an undergarment. So he came down the stairs and stopped on the landing and pointed at us and said, "Stay in the way." Yes, and said, "Stay in the way." And then he realized that every time he moved, Jesus' body would mimic what he was doing. And so in that we saw, and then there was, all of a sudden there was a magnification that flashed in my face and in his face of the weave of his garment.
Fine linen. And
we realized the very weave of the garment, and that for years we didn't know what all of that meant. But we realized after studying it and researching and really contemplating it, that what we saw was Jesus coming down as him every night to go in that closet. And that the reason he had the fine linen on undergarment was because he was living upstairs and we were living upstairs. And so we didn't see from that point on Jesus separate and apart from us. He became the embodiment. So, and it wasn't like a sense of arrogance or anything.
Nope, I know.
But that was the initial opening for him and for myself. But then I had another experience. Let me tell him this, and then we'll move forward. I was very vain back in the day. And so I would stay in the mirror and always trying to fix myself up. So I was doing that one night, and this is after our salvation experience. I was in the mirror and I was combing my hair, and all of a sudden my face transfigured. When it transfigured, I heard these words: "My eyes are your eyes, my ears are your ears, my mouth is your mouth." And it scared me so bad I would not look in the mirror for 2 weeks. I did not look in the mirror for 2 weeks. But at that point, I realized where he was and who he was. He was me. And without arrogance, without the ego. So those were the two initial experiences, part of them. There were so many others. So we always say Jesus actually led us into an expanded awareness instead of locking us into religion.
I wrote a note here on the paper, and I said, the gift of God is coming here to this dimension to wake up out of the identity that we think we are in this dimension. We came here to wake up to see he is us, and us as him, and him as us. Life is seeking I found out that the life that God is in us as us is seeking itself through us. Now what I'm doing is I wrote down the best that I could of the translation of seeing him, because I was able to see the folds in his robe and the way it was put together with no seams.
Yeah, and then we also realized that his robe, his garment, was the same as his body. There was no seams, and there were no separation between his body and his clothing.
So I kept with my mind based on Jewish people over there where he lived in Israel, that everybody wore sandals. And so what I started doing was using my mind,
Your imagination.
imagination. I popped some sandals on his feet, because see, when he come down the stairs, his robe was moving with life in it,
Yeah.
like a wind was blowing in it,
Yeah.
but it was real gentle.
Yeah.
And the more I talk about it, the more revelation inside I see as I talk now. And I kept putting them on his feet. I saw what his feet, he wear about a size 9.5 shoe, something like that. I could feel the measurement of his feet. And his height was also.
And he didn't have any nail prints?
No.
There were no nail prints
No.
in his hand or in his feet?
No. He was just who he was. But I do know this. When you see him in other people, you will know it's him. Or you'll know that they are him.
I'll say having had that encounter, it helps us to see him in other people and in ourselves.
And my prayer is to see him 24/7. And I do. I'm talking to him now. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hymns.
And when we say in, we're not saying him in you like a raisin in a bun. We're talking about like the sugar in the bun. So it's like he is who you are.
Sugar in the bun.
Yeah, he is who you are.
You have the same exact experience that we have, but it just came in a different way. And that's, I think that's why I've been feeling this level of excitement. Like just today, I joined this group, and I get this, there's 400 members, and we each have a number of founding members, and I'm number 358 out of 400. Well, I went to the Course in Miracle lesson, and it talks about your true self. So I was like, oh, that's amazing. And then it reminded me just what you were just saying, Antoinette. The Course in Miracles is interesting to me, and Bill and I have for the last couple of years. Bill sort of was understanding it before I was getting it, that the words Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, him, were only a stepping stone to lead us to the place where there's a merging, this like transfiguration, where first you think God and Jesus and Holy Spirit are separate. And then like this lesson here, lesson 353, just was reminding me, Antoinette, of what you just said about when you were looking in the mirror. It says, my eyes, my tongue, my hands, my feet today have but one purpose,
That's
to
right.
be given Christ to use to bless the world with miracles. And this is an interesting lesson because it has a prayer. It says, Father, I give all that is mine today to Christ to use in any way that best will serve the purpose I share with him. Nothing is mine alone, for he and I have joined in purpose. Thus has learning come almost to its appointed end. And this is the part I love. It says, a while I work with him, so I work with Christ, a while I work with Christ to serve his purpose. Then I lose my identity and recognize that Christ is but myself.
Wow.
So that's the Course in Miracles. And a lot of teachers and students are still stuck in the language, which is why I have been feeling such an excitement for Oliver to introduce me to the both of you, because I feel like Jesus, my true self, our one self, it's like we've come to this place in the world, I guess, or in our own one transformation that the world is going through. But it's time. It's like, this is how I feel. I'll just express it in my own words.
Go ahead.
I feel like there's been Course in Miracle groups, there's been teachings, there's been discussions about how it all works. And all of a sudden, I feel like there's enough of a quickening in the one mind that this vibration of the two of you has been inserted. That's how I feel. I feel like all of a sudden you have a totally different expression, but the same exact message. That's what I'm feeling. And Bill has been speaking for quite some time because he listens to Rupert Spira. He followed Muji for a little bit. Of the awareness and the non-duality, to go beyond the term. So that's what I love, is like now we're reaching a point where it's becoming commonplace, where people in human bodies are saying your message. Like I am the light. And I think I'll just wrap up here quick and give it back. But the thing that's most exciting to me right now also is that there's so much conflict right now in the world with coronavirus, racial issues. To actually have those of us here in the world still in our true self, in laughter, and not leading that place into conflict because the world says you should be upset right now. You should be sad. You should be scared. You shouldn't be happy right now. Do you know what's happening in the world? Do you have any? And I'm like, yeah, that's why I stay in joy.
Yeah. So,
Well,
and there was another scripture that stood out to us. There's some other scriptures, but one particular one that we kind of emphasized and re-emphasized when we had the 500 people, and they all knew what union with Christ meant. But we took it a step further when we would read Galatians 2:20. I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ that lives. And the life I now live, I live by the faith of the Son of God, not the faith in. So we realized we took that literally in the sense that we would not and at that point, we no longer felt like God was inside of us, compartmentalized. He was he and I am me. That it was like that merger that you spoke about. It was that merger took place to the point where there was no longer a separation.
2 months ago, maybe 3, my mother crossed over. And for 7 years, we had to earnestly contend with her. And I was not really that close to her. I lived in the same apartment upstairs, 4 families all connected with each other, but they turned me against my mother
because you weren't raised
because I wasn't raised by her. But long story short, at the end of her last moment, I went to the hospice place to be with her. I didn't really want to, because the deeper you go into your true identity, it stirs up a whole lot of senses. Senseless, unsenseless stuff, you know. But you have to look at it from the perspective of the watcher and the observer, and try to not to be a participator or agitator or a rotator. And so I went to the bed, and she was in bed, and my wife said some things to her. But here's the strangest thing. When I walked to that rest home, I spotted a lady right in front of me as I make the turn going to the right down the hall. I looked at her and my deja vu kicked in. And I said, I know you.
And she said, yeah, I know you
She said, I know you too. I said, you know me from where? Then it clicked to me. I said, you know me from the other side, don't you? She said, yeah. And she said, you know my name too. I said, yeah. Oh, honey. I cried so much that God gave me a bottle of tears. He showed me a bottle of tears,
and he showed you a book of tears.
And a book of tears on the other side in the archives. And when my mom was in the room, I went to her on the bed. She was laying there, sitting there with a head to the side, her chin had dropped, and she was breathing like
her last breath.
Her last breath, like sleep apnea, you know. And I looked at her, and I never thought I would ever see my mom like that. I remember standing on the porch when she was beat and left for dead on the side of a creek bank, and her head was as big as the screen on your television screen. I went there as a little boy, and I saw her in bed. She was you could hardly recognize who she was. But anyway, my mom had a strong will. And it was through her that she took me through the school of the mind identity, of positive thinking and positive confession. She did that, and I don't know how she found out about it, because she was just that determined. And she did a lot of had a lot of out of body experiences, such as dreaming, because she used to dance a lot, and we go see her, and she said, I'm so tired. I said, Mom, why are you so tired? She said, I've been dancing all night. I've been partying all night.
In her sleep.
In her sleep. And I tried to wait to explain to her about, she wasn't really dreaming, she was really traveling in that world. but I couldn't explain it to her because her mind wasn't taking. But anyway, I went to the side of the bed and I said, "Mom," and she taking these real deep breaths. She weighed about 90 pounds.
Shallow breaths.
Yeah,
actually.
she's really little.
Yeah.
And I said, "Mom," I said, "it's okay." I said, "You can leave now.
He said it's okay to
It's
let
okay
go.
to let go. You
It's
can
okay
leave
to
now."
let go
I
because
said,
she was struggling to let go.
she was holding on to this world, her possessions and everything. And I said, "Your mother, your father, and Jesus is going to come and get you." I said, "You can leave now." Sweetheart, brother, she took that last breath. She said,
Yep.
And I saw her leave her body.
And it was the most beautiful experience I've ever
Ooh,
had
Lord
to
have
see
mercy.
someone let go
Yeah.
and just leave and just
Yeah.
it just completely let go. It spoke to me about what real surrender is, that actual letting go. And she had struggled so hard to do that. But I wanted to say this too, for so many years, having taught people about their union with Christ, they still had this concept of he's in me, but I'm still me. And
Right.
so that being compartmentalized, that collapsed inside of us.
Mhm.
And when it
went
did,
right down to the solar plex.
when that separation mindset collapsed inside of that belief, collapsed, it was then that we began to talk about the non-judgment and all of this stuff, because we realized there was no separation. And that was when people started exiting from our ministry. And then a little bit at a time, they just exit a little bit at a time. My sister said, it almost sounds like a conspiracy because they got together and said, well, you leave this week and I'll leave next week. But that's the way it was. And so it was like a repeated exit, and then a few just remained. So we downsized 3 times since then.
I think that's evidence of a job well done.
Yeah, we tore ourselves out of a job, exactly. But I'm beginning to realize, what we're beginning to realize is there is the potential within every religion, no matter what religion it is, even in Christianity. When I say even Christianity, because they're so dogmatic, there is the potential of an awakening happening, even in that setting, and because it happened to us.
Yeah.
And so I know that it is. There are Christians now that we are talking to. Before we got to you guys, we were talking to mainly Christians who are just, that message doesn't resonate with them anymore. And they're beginning to see that there's more to it. And so they're the ones who have been following us. So we've been kind of, like I told Oliver, we've been kind of tunnel vision to think our platform is just that triad area, and for churched people mostly. And so that's been our language.
Every once in a while, I have a bad flashback of my childhood.
Yeah, he's had a real hard childhood.
Facing a man with a shotgun in his hand and had pulled the hammer back on it to kill me and his wife.
Yeah.
And the shotgun went off in the floor about 12 inches from my feet.
So that kind of pushed him into certain areas to find out how could he get past all of those traumatic memories. So that made him dig a little deeper than maybe the average Christian.
I had nobody to turn to but a closet. And the closet was the place where the shotgun was. And I just decided at 3 o'clock in the morning, when he come in to pull my aunt out of bed to beat her, I was going to beat him to this closet and get the gun. And I did. I was sitting on the side of the bed as a little boy with the shells and the gun ready for him to come in and wipe him out. So this is the flashbacks that I had when we got married.
Yeah. He would literally have
every once in a while
nightmares at night. Yeah.
But I kept seeing Jesus going in the tomb, and a revolving door was the entrance. He'd go in and come back out. He'd go in and come back out. And I kept wondering, I said, why you keep going and coming out? Then he went in one time and I came out.
So these experiences that we've had, we try not to make people feel like they need to have these same experiences, because a lot of times people think if they can have that experience, they'll get what you got or be like you or whatever. So we try not to emphasize that, because we don't want them to feel like they got to have that phenomena in order to awaken. But this is what we had to have in order to help us see.
I used to go to Milwaukee and preach every New Year's, bring the New Year in. And this guy that was with me used to come to our classes up there and my teaching and
he's
miracles.
now a
and
pastor,
healing. Yeah, he's a pastor. And so he wanted to be like me. He was taller than I was. I don't know how he gonna be like that, but he's.
But before you finish, because he's had certain giftings during the course of this time, and even more so now, intuitive gifting. So this guy wanted to be just like him in that area.
So I bought some shoes called Stacy Adams. Your husband may know about these Stacy Adams. If you don't, they were really real handmade shoes.
Expensive shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was in high school, I wore shoes called Johnny Bull. They was handmade shoes, so this is style.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had to lose all that stuff. So he bought him a pair of shoes just like mine, because he think that if he bought the shoes that I wore, he could do what I was doing.
Yeah, that's what he thought.
Yeah.
So I went into this church, and they labeled me as a prophet and all that kind of stuff. But let me tell you this before we get into that. I had to give up all of those titles and attitude. I went through hell. We went through hell trying to get excuse the terminology, I don't like to use, our black folks to hear what we were saying, but they dropped us, and I went, please, I don't like to use this, but I went to
Our white
Caucasian friends. You guys always come back to us. And they invited me to their homes and what is called sharing groups. And I would share with them all of my experiences of what I had on the other side. I went into a class in Glassboro, New Jersey. I taught about praying in the spirit from 9 that morning to 12 that day to 6 or 7 that evening, all day long.
Yes, it was.
And I don't know how I did it, but I did. And it still was not exhausted. And I was constantly doing that, because when I go after something, it's like this. If I ever told a guy when I was in school, when I carried a gun, if I ever told you I'm going to shoot your toe off, you might as well go into the house and cut it off, because I'm going to get your toe. That's just the way it is. I knew a guy that said that if he threw a brick and you was around the corner, it would turn the curve and hit you upside the head.
Translation, he's very determined.
I went to school for 13 years and hardly didn't miss a day. And even when I was sick, I went. And I passed from the 6th to the 12th grade on perfect attendance, because my report card was so beautiful. It was the most amazing report card. Nobody else had a report card like mine. It was pretty. It had red F's.
I knew that was coming.
Purple F's.
That's funny.
Wine-colored F's. And I let my mama sign the report card the first time, and I never did let her see it again, because I knew how to draw her name on that the rest of the time. So I said this to a guy in a van that I was ministering down in South Carolina, and he said, "You had all them F's on your report card?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You was all F'd up, wasn't you?" I said, "Yeah, I was really F'd up bad." But I had favor with the teachers, and I did a lot of drawing and things like that.
So he went all the way through school and could not read, just little bits. And so when he had his initial conversion experience, the first thing that happened was he was in the experience. He began to read, and he'd have to tell the experience, because it's a little bit more.
This paper you see here, I got writing on it. Can't nobody read it but me. She thinks she can read my translation, but
anyway, he could not read, and he was taught to read. Now we've got a house full of books. And so since that time, he's had all this information. We've just accumulated so much information.
So I went to the bookstore, Barnes and Nobles. I heard about this book. I saw it online, called A Course in Miracles.
Because you were interested in miracles.
I was interested in the definition of miracle, sudden explosion of energy. I began to study about the subconscious mind, the left brain, right brain. I began to study about neuro-linguistic programming. These are things that I did not, I learned, I had more education learning out of school than I was in school. So I began to investigate into the books, because I had been over there and seen the paper, the book room, the Universal Archives, or the Hall of Record of the Akashic Records. I realized that all that information was in me, that there's no such thing as a loss of memory.
So we realized also that a lot of the things that he experienced taught us about the chakras. It taught us about
Oh,
all
yeah.
of those different things.
Yeah.
But it was under the mantle of Christian and Bible teachings. But we were seeing through that as a Christian religion. We were seeing through it. So that's why I say there is the potential of any person waking up. Doesn't matter where they are, what religion they're in.
So we went through the demons and the deliverance and all that kind of stuff, demonology
All
and
that stuff, yeah.
all that kind of blah, 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 blah.
Before
So-
we realized there was no such thing as evil.
But we found out that the dream was this, and we were dreaming. So as we went on, I gave up the false Jesus. I gave him up to find the real
The
one.
conceptualized Jesus.
And
yeah.
you probably heard me talk about the rest home that her mother was in, that when I was sitting there in the chair, I kept seeing him passing the door, and he finally got my attention, and he said, this is my home. And I said, you live here? He said, yeah, I live here. Now, I've been telling you stuff for 50 years. And he said, yeah. He said, this is my home. I said, it is? He said, I was sick and you visited me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was in prison and you come to see me. I was hungry and you fed me. And they said to him, when were you all of these things? And he said, if you've done it unto the least of them, you've done it unto me. I know who me was.
So those kinds of experiences taught us. And my mother taught me, she had Alzheimer's. And I realize now that she played the role of having Alzheimer's so that I would learn. And as being her caregiver, I had to watch her mind, her memories, all of her personality be erased. And she taught me this before all of her memories and mental faculties were gone. I would go and take her out and we would ride around after I cleaned her up and all of this, and we would just spend some time together. And whenever she saw anything, it was like everything was fresh. If she saw an open field, she would do this, she'd go, wow. And so she taught me how to see things new. And then at the end of her life, after all of her memory was about gone, there was nothing left. She didn't remember names and all of this stuff. She would still smile when she saw me, not really knowing who I was as far as my name and that I was her daughter, but she knew that connection was there. But when I looked into her eyes, Mom had lost every painful memory. She no longer had any painful memory. She didn't remember any of the abuse she had been through, none of that. So she taught me how to let go of the story. And it was those kinds of experiences that have been teaching us all along. So we haven't necessarily gotten it from a book, but the books give us language, a way to speak it when we hear other people say those things that we're having imparted to us through the experiences. So the books, we've accumulated so many books just so we could have some language to tell what we've seen and what we know.
Miss Lisa, do you have teachers in your family?
I do not.
What about your husband?
Well, no, I came from a Christian background. I was a born again for over 20 years. And when I found the course, I ended up in a psych ward because I thought I was Jesus.
And you were.
I thought I was Christ.
Yeah.
And I found out I am.
You are, yeah.
Without
Without the ego.
With or without the ego, you are.
Right.
But
I found the course about 2006, and it changed everything immediately.
Good.
It just turned me upside down on my head, and I really knew that I was Christ, and I was not taking no for an answer, and it changed everything. I just knew that all of those things that I'd been studying for 20 plus years in the Bible, my love for Jesus was bigger, and the story was so much better than the one that I had always, gone to church and read all these. It just was so real to me.
Yeah, it is.
And I knew, oh, that's what that means. Oh, that's what that means. Oh, that's what that. So when I hear you, brother, talking about verses like Jeremiah, I knew you before you in your mother's womb. I knew you.
Yeah.
And all of those things before Abraham I am. And so all of those things they just lit up for me. And I knew that the Course in Miracles, and then later found out that teaching is the truth. It is the way, the truth, and the life. And we are all of that.
Yeah.
And Jesus
The
referred to
embodiment of it.
himself. He was always referring to the I am that we all are.
Not I was, I
Yeah,
am.
yeah.
And so when I hear you two integrating the Christian terms and the Christian verses into the metaphysical and even the oneness, the presence of I am, yes, and the oneness that all points to, it's like music to my ears. I love listening to your to your transmission as integrated from and through and as the spirit presence that you are.
Yep.
So I love it. I love hearing it come from you, and I don't care what color your body is. It does. That's been a.
That's another story, Bill. That's another story. I started out his color, actually.
Yes, she did.
And I had the condition called vitiligo.
Michael Jackson had that.
And so I began to get lightened up. so I've, in my last few years, I've lightened up, and now my body's doing something else funny. It's trying to go brown again. So
That's really funny.
So I got a taste of both worlds. But
Yeah,
now,
well, for not being a body, you really, I mean, those ideas, they come and go. It really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what sees all of that activity. The I am that sees it and doesn't see separation. It doesn't see good or bad. It doesn't see things being characterized as being separate from anything. So whatever happens, it's all good. It's good, and especially if it's embraced and enveloped with the love of God that we are. We are God love.
that's the
Yes,
truth.
We are the love of God.
yes, sir.
That's the
yes,
truth.
Sir.
When I found out the
Exactly.
definition of eternal love, I knew that I would never have to forgive anybody ever again.
Yep.
And I knew that love is a forgiveness of beingness,
Yeah.
absoluteness, and that this love does not turn on and off. I slip in and out of joint. But then I found out that wasn't even me doing that. I found out the joint, the slipping in and out, was something that of an illusion of a condition that everybody had to go into before they could get into this world. But the key to this thing is that we ought to serve God in each other, not in an egotistical way, but in a, well, it's in an A. I just stop at an A. We will know each other by our insight and revelation, the heightened awareness of our senses. I walked up some swirling stairs, and I came out on the other side, and I stood on a cloud. And every time I get in a plane to fly somewhere, I would look out the window and I say, honey, I've walked up here before. I've been up here before. And I stood on a highway in the sky. And I looked down at the end of the road and I said, wonder how far it is from where I'm standing to the end of this highway. And my feet, now listen, my body could see. My body could hear. My body could know.
Or was it your being?
My beingness was all directions. And when I said, I wonder how far it is from where I'm standing to the end, my feet measured the distance and said with the words and movement, 1, 2, 3, and I was at the end of it. And at the end of it, I looked and I came into a body of blue water. On the other side was the city. Now I realized later on that all that I was seeing as in separate and apart was me. It was in me. And I got ready to step. And Papa, the universe, said, not ready yet. So I turned to my right. Now this is weird, Miss Lisa and John. Is it right? Bill Bunyan. Okay. I looked to the right and I was inside of a UFO. Now this is crazy stuff now. I'm gonna mess it up now. I looked inside the thing and I was sitting in a chair like a living these big single armchairs in the front. It was square blocks control, and it was made out of liquid alloy, clear liquid alloy. And I was sitting in it, and I could control the flying machine through the 9 gifts of the Spirit. And all I had to do was feel, think, ideal, aware, and I could go back everywhere. So I decided to go back to the entrance where I came up. When I got back there, the ship disappeared from around me, and I was standing there. I said to the union of the unction of the universe, I said, now I've been up here to this place. How am I going to tell people that this place was real? Mm-hmm. He said to me, the universe said, when you get back down to earth, he said, you'll have 2 buckets of paint, the blue paint and some other color you was painting with, the blue paint and white paint or something like that. He said, blue paint. And he said, when you get back down there, you will find the blue paint, and you paint around the door, the seals around the door, blue paint. And you know this, but I didn't know he was setting me up for a meeting in Rangeville, Alabama, Fort Payne, Alabama. So after I got back down, my wife was painting the doorpost with that same paint.
I had decided to paint the
same paint that I had up there.
Yeah.
And when I got to Rangeville, Alabama, there was a little boy that was sitting in the audience, and I was talking about this adventure that I had on the other side with the paint buckets.
That's another story. He's had all these near-death-like experiences, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute.
And so anyway, I called him out. He was born deaf. Mm-hmm. And he was really, I'm sorry, not deaf. I got so many cases like this. Arthritis. I had so many cases like this. Mm-hmm. This boy had crippling, painful arthritis. Mm-hmm. And he was screaming and disturbing the service. So I called a lady up and him. And when she got up, she told me what was going on with him. I just said, listen, I'm going to get rid of this arthritis. So I stuck my finger in his ear, put my hand on his head, and said, yay, and it come out. And when the arthritis left him,
now you don't have to say yay.
I don't have to say yay. So anyway, and he got free. Mm-hmm. And so I began to go into the teaching about the buckets of paint and what I saw. So there's a lady sitting up in front of me on the front row. She didn't have anything. I didn't have anything on blue. The Lord said to me, look at her eyes. And her eyes start changing back and forth from brown, gray to the blue, the color of the blue paint that I had when I was up in that dimension on the cloud.
As a sign to you.
As a sign. And I said, how can I tell these people that have been to this place? He said, her eyes changing to the color of that paint will tell you. So he let me call everybody up in the church and look at her eyes. And they saw her eyes the same color of the paint.
Now, is he overwhelming you? Because I know he likes to just throw it all at you. And I wanted to know how you feel about everything that he's saying.
I know it's true. Like, I really feel like sometimes I can't find the words for things, but my experience in my lifetime has been one of, I'm like at a total loss for words right now. Like I used to have a lot of out-of-body experiences when I was a child, and I saw a man when I was a child. I don't have any religious background whatsoever, but it was very common knowledge for me to travel, to hear things. I have very vivid dreams to this day.
Oh, wow.
So when I found A Course in Miracles, it put some structure. Like when I was a young child, these experiences that I was having were freaking my parents out. So I just could travel through the walls at night. I'd go outside while I was in my bed and go play. And I used to tear my clothes off, and I didn't even know what I was doing, but I was like leaving my body, I guess.
You didn't know your husband then, did you?
No.
What?
You didn't know your husband did you? When you turned your clothes off? You didn't know.
Not in the human sense. But my mother said, Lisa, your father and I, your you're scaring us. We're going to take you to the doctor. And I shut it all down.
Yeah. That's usually what happens.
I started actually going deaf at that time. So I started losing my hearing in the 3rd grade. And now I wear hearing aids, and it's about 100% no sound, and maybe 95% without hearing aids.
Wow.
But the Course in Miracles put some structure to what was already natural for me, just like you said, to put language to it. So when I met Bill, it's like, oh, there's the next thing in my experience.
Yeah.
I just know that that's how it goes. It's like, oh, we're really not bodies.
Yeah.
Like, we really have been sent here from a whole other place, and
Yes.
that we get lost in the body identification
Yes.
stuff, and we forget this.
That's right.
Yes.
And
yes.
so when we start to put our attention and awareness on the self, it starts to come to life. So from that point, it's like you start to see people coming to you to help you. It's like, this is the next thing in the experience.
Okay.
So when Bill landed in my experience in 2010, we both were like, when are we going to do the things Jesus did? He was already
Yeah.
when I met him. He was like, who cares about sitting around talking about this stuff?
There you
When
go.
are we going to do the stuff that Jesus did?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, yes, when are we going to do that? So that's how Bill and I have this connection with each other.
Okay.
So when you two came onto the scene just like a week ago, I was like, oh, it's like the radio dial just got changed.
Oh.
That's how I feel. I feel like, all right, we're turning the channel here now in the world. And so it's I know I'm probably not explaining myself
Oh,
right,
you are.
You're doing fine.
Yes.
but all I'm saying is that, like, as I was listening to the broadcast that you did, I'm pretty bold. Like, I'm pretty uncompromising in my own expression.
Yeah.
But when I heard the both of you, I was like, it suddenly gave me
Bless your
this
heart.
idea, oh, it's time for me to really be that only.
Wow.
Wow.
Like, not, it almost feels like I was straddling the fence still, because I didn't want to scare people too much. So I was
Yeah.
still like,
I know that feeling too.
but
Yes.
when you, like, I've had people in the last little bit say, I wrote this article called, I will never say I'm anti-racist or anti-anything, because anti means against.
Right. Right.
And I took a lot of, got a lot of messages about that. And I received a message from someone saying, Lisa, you are the most influential Course in Miracle person, and a lot of people look up to you, and you have a responsibility to get on board with this anti-racist message. And I was like, no, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't have to get on board with anything. And then you two appeared. And I was like, oh my God, how perfect that you were sent into my experience as a demonstration, a very powerful example that we are to stay in the truth.
Yes. Yes.
That and it's time. And when we do it, other people then feel, oh, I can do it.
One of the things that helped me, and again, I don't know why it's been chosen that the experiences that we have, even the life experiences, not just spiritual experience, but life experiences have taught us. When I got the vitiligo, that started spreading. It spread it so slowly till for years it didn't show up. But then when it finally got into my face and all of those different places, I would try to cover it with makeup and all of this. And so it was becoming more and more of a problem for me to just be in public, be with people, in front of people. I never stopped doing that, but I had this issue of wanting, I didn't want to meet new people because they'd always have to look at my hands or whatever. So during the course of that, I know now that the vitiligo was the best thing that ever happened to me. And the reason why, not because now I'm all cleared up and that I can present myself, but because it taught me that I'm not Black.
Yeah.
And that I'm not white either.
Yeah.
I'm neither.
Exactly.
So now I realize I am not my body, and my
Yeah.
body does whatever it wants to do, and I can help it once in a while by believing the best thing for it and doing the healthy things for it. But my body is not what I am, so I no longer completely identify with the Black race, because I know that I'm not only Black, and I'm neither.
She came
So-
here as Lois Lane and ended up being Supergirl.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's it.
So that taught me
Yes.
how to not identify with
Yeah.
all of those things that are of my physicality. And we've identified with all kinds of things that are of only relative to our physical existence. And those things are what keeps us from seeing who we are truly.
We had a time with this transition that she's going
Yeah,
through,
it was hard. It was
and
hard.
it
was
is
hard.
still there with me because you know, it's a gift. She's a gift in her essence. It was her essence that we trailed each other's essence from children in the neighborhood. I used to have a goat that used to chase her and her brothers when they come through the field.
We
to
didn't
go
know
to
each other,
Go
but
to the neighborhood store. I met her when
I
we was
hated
about
that
5 or
goat.
6. I met
That
her.
goat would chase me every time I went to the store.
I didn't know that. I didn't meet that many girls. I'd said 5 on each hand, but she said
I don't
more than
believe
that.
it. I don't believe
But
it.
at any rate, I found out after meeting her that she was who I've been looking for all this time. And I also found out that in essence, we stood beside each other, as well as you and your wife and
Oliver and
Yolanda.
Yes.
Anyway, I had a chance to meet all the people I was going to meet on this earth in Jesus' hand.
Yeah.
Instead of the scar of the
Yeah.
nails, I saw people take the place of the scar.
Yeah. And he was a color that was no color,
No color.
but every color.
But the question was, here's something I wrote here on my paper. It said that we live from our heart and serve every human being as God.
Mm-hmm.
We must meet our true selves through revelation and intuition
And perfection.
We came here to meet ourselves as our friends. Now, he told me who I was going to meet. He let me try his shoes on. He let me wear his robe. And I asked him, how can I wear this? Him taller.
Also, we realized why we saw the weave. As a matter of fact, he saw the weave when it magnified as a square. I saw the weave as a round circle, but we both saw the weave. And later on, he taught us that it's because he's showing us how we're all a cut of the same cloth. Mm-hmm. All of us are woven into the same tapestry, and there's no separation.
Now, Bill, I say this to you. I had a chance to meet Lucifer. I met him. We both met him in person.
The energy that's called
We saw
Lucifer,
him. Yes. We saw him in a room, and he pulled all the oxygen and the atmosphere of the temperature of that room into his forming his body.
All the negativity.
Went
into that one local area.
Here's the key to this Christ identity. When the enemy comes in, we heard this said in the book.
It comes in like a flood.
Like a flood, the Spirit of God will stand against him. You are on automatic 24/7. There is no such thing as turning God on and turning him off. You can't do that. You were on when you came, and you're on, and you're going to be on, and you're going to stay on, and you can't never be turned off from that beingness that you are as him. Now, when he came in the room, the darkness came in the room, everything in the room went into him. And immediately, I saw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace.
There was an arising that took place in us.
The key to the resurrection power is the rising of consciousness to meet the demand
of that
negative
energy
illusion.
Yes.
So, Bill, what happened was the voice of the Spirit of God said, as us, I dare you to do it. You cannot do it.
Yeah.
We dare you to form. And he stopped. we've heard him scream through other people's mouths in our services. We had a building.
And we realize now that was a level of consciousness
Yeah.
that people had spiraled down into
Yeah.
such depths
Yeah.
of separation.
Yep.
Yeah.
It looked as if it was a demon.
Yeah. We choose not to allow that level of dimension to get our attention like it used to.
Anymore.
Yeah, there's a line in A Course in Miracles that talks about taking the first descent into hell, taking a step into hell.
Really?
And it's said to be aware of that first step, because the second you take the first step, the other ones come very quickly.
I call it a spiraling downward into what I call emergency emotions.
And I've seen the universal hell, the parallel hell, the parallel universe. I've been there.
Created by all of us.
Yeah, I saw people walking around it. I was sitting up in the bed looking on the other side of her and saw this dimension. And I've walked the streets with it. Sweetheart, brother and sister, I cannot tell you the adventures in just a few words of what we experienced. The anguish, the reason why Jesus' heart was so broken was because of the pain of the suffering and the empathicness that he is as all of us. Now watch this. I walked to the back side of the cross and I saw what was on the back side. I looked up and you know who was on the back side? All of us.
Yeah.
I saw the stripes on his back. They were on ours for the healing power of God. Miss Lisa, you and Bill came on this earth somewhere around the same time. We discussed these things. This is not the first time we talked about this. The download of all that we're saying is evidence of our conversation. This is not a strange thing, but as earth angels, I was taught how to see them. They are in this earth. They are among us. There are many of them that have been visiting us. I kept seeing your husband's mother standing next to him or standing over behind him, and the presence of a brother somewhere. But I feel that presence around him and through both of you. You are absolutely the book, but the book that you are cannot be read. It has to be revelatorized. I don't know what that word.
They're the book before it was on paper.
Now, I want to say this to you. I have no desire to be famous. I thought I would. I done preach like everybody in the book. I done preached like A. Allen, Don Stewart, Catherine Kuhlman, all of them.
Trying to be Jake.
Trying to be Jake's. I can't make it, honey. I can't cut it.
That's why we love you so much.
I can't cut it. I went to sleep, spend the night with my brother. My brother went to bed so much I thought we were going to have to sleep with a life jacket on. I woke up one morning, everybody was going out the house. I'm laying there in the bed wet. And I had to put on some raggedy underwear that was too big. And ever since then, my mama buy me underwear for Christmas. They all are too big. They've been big ever since.
Oh my God.
I had a chance to meet this Santa Claus.
Yeah, and by the way, before he had the bariatric surgery, he had it about a year ago. He was so heavy that he would play Santa Claus. We would play Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus every year for about 12 years. And
so Pastor Sawyer,
yeah.
Could you say that again? They're not aware of the procedure that Pastor had a year ago.
Yeah, it was a bariatric surgery, the weight loss surgery. He had that last September. And we would play Mr. and Mrs. Claus every year. We for about 2 or 3 years. And then the last time we did it, it was for 200 sickle cell children. And we were sitting, you made me think about it.
Toys for Tots.
Toys for Tots. You made me think of it when you talk about your brother peeing on you. Because we had all these babies and we sit some on our lap. Our laps were pee-wee by the time we got through.
Oh, yes, Lord.
our knees were soaked.
It was in a church, and the church was packed with children and toys. And I make toys.
Yes, he does.
The
He
big
makes toys.
giant earth movers.
They're actually models.
Models,
Yeah.
D11 Caterpillar, P&H mining shovels. They're big. Take 2 people to pick them up.
So he is also the embodiment of Santa Claus. He loves red.
Yeah,
As you
well,
can
it's funny,
see.
funny that you said that, because when I told Bill about you after I got off the first call,
Mhm.
I said, "Oh my God, Bill, you have to come up here and you have to listen." And I was trying to describe you. I said, they're like Santa and Mrs. Claus. Bill.
You would
That's
be
true.
surprised.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
have that energy about you. And what was funny too is that when I had heard you on the first, I don't know if it was a Sunday call,
Mhm.
and I've never told anyone really that we're from the same planet. But that was what was coming to me. I said to Bill, I'm like, we're like from the same planet and from the same universe. And then you, Clifton, started saying that when I got on the call. You started saying, "Oh, we're from the same vibration and dimension," and so it's funny that you're saying that, because
Yeah.
that was exactly.
We actually do look like Mr. and Mrs. Claus. And then we live in a English tutor, which kind of resembles the gingerbread house. And he loves red. That's his favorite color.
Yeah.
He always wears his glasses on his nose.
Yeah.
And he makes toys. So it's like we become that too. So
But I haven't made any toys since I had the shoulder.
well, you stopped for a while, but he had that replacement.
And
So you took off a bunch of weight.
Yeah, some,
70
and
pounds
put a
at
little
least.
bit back
I
on,
put
but
it
not
back on.
nothing like what he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I put it back on. I'm hoping that I can get it back off. It's kind of hard.
But he was struggling with losing the Santa Claus identity.
Yeah, I didn't want to lose
So-
that, but I gave it up. And my beard was much bigger than what it is now.
Mhm.
But the point of it is that I would go to the mall or to the stores, and the children would see me.
Yeah, it was great
And,
for children.
And so I make hats. I made a certain kind of hat that I made from watching Emerald.
Those are the caps, Yolanda. That's why I said he's not probably ever going to give up his caps, because he's made about
Emerald.
10 of those.
Yeah, I would go get one right quick, but I make them. And see, I spent $90,000 before we moved here on electric trains.
Back when we had a lot of money.
And yeah, and electric trains. And I was making over $100,000 a year, the $1,208,000 on building, and I gave it up. But anyway, I used to have trains out in the yard. I make them out with the diesels and I push the kids around.
So he's just a big kid in an adult body.
And I get that inspiration to make them. I don't have to have a blueprint, and I could make you and your husband if I could keep you on the screen long enough. I make a wooden you and a wooden him. But I got into the wood. The wood meant something to me in the second chapter of Acts, the counsel and foreknowledge and mind of God. When I read that, the counsel and foreknowledge of God, I began to investigate into the Assemblies of God archives.
Not only that, you were raised in
I
a
was
wood,
raised in
in
a
a wood
wood
yard.
yard, so
Your
I knew
uncle
the
had a
different
wood
kinds of
yard.
trees and wood,
Mhm.
and I still do. I built all of the awnings around my house for the English Tudor style. But anyway, in this toy thing, got so many things coming up in
Yeah,
there.
we can't tell him everything at once.
I made the toys, and the people that come through the neighborhood that rode the bus would stop the bus and watch me work with the toys in the yard.
This is when you were a little
When
boy.
I was a little boy, I was making toys around 5 and 6.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to go to school because I wanted to stay out in the yard and make my toys. Diesels, the SD9, the Dash 840 CW, Norfolk and Western, Union Pacific.
And see,
all
I don't
this
know
stuff.
why he can't remember what I want him to remember. He can remember all these numbers and
Numbers.
models and stuff.
Then I got into sewing. I
Yeah.
started sewing, reupholstering furniture, reupholstering car seats when I worked for R.J. Reynolds for 17 years. Sweetheart, let me tell y'all something.
So he's always got projects, some kind of project.
Let me share this with you. This information that we're sharing with each other through this miracle of vibration, sounds, and pictures has been a lot of suffering for us. I lost a lot of friends,
Yeah.
and I had to find some way. I had to find some way to cope with this flashbacks and memory and the question of why do they do this? I had to go somewhere in myself to find a way to survive. Once you
Psychologically.
once you get the taste of life, you don't want to go back to death.
Yeah.
Right.
I smelled the smell of the Jesus self. I tasted on my tongue the universe of his taste. I've seen his compassion heal people and give them their sight back, and yet I had to give it all up to be that. I was taken to a parts house in the heavens where he told me that all the parts in this place, like an auto parts store, was inside of us. And when we got ready to touch people, we could transfer those parts out of us. My search has spent thousands of dollars investigating into the how to, when to, and the what to.
Yep.
And I still ended up in the closet, praying in the spirit 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day for the change to be made. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. And I often hear the words on the inside, I want to go home, but not like that. I don't care much for going to hospitals, and I've been in the last several years, I've been there a whole lot. I've had about 13 hemorrhoid operations. And every doctor that I've met under anesthesia, I end up talking to them about the training school that they went to on the other side. Bill, listen, I know you. I feel you. I know you. You come through a whole lot to get to where you are.
She's coming to console you.
My puppy come to help
Baby
me
girls
out.
come to console
Yeah,
you.
she's here. And we've been disappointed so much that I got tired of being disappointed. So I don't like hooking up with people. I've had 500 people who said they would never leave. But every one of them walked away, or we walked away from them.
Yep.
I know the Jesus that I'm talking to in this picture. I am in you and you in me. If I don't ever see you again, if something happens to this body and I leave it, I will leave and come into your heart, a place that I never left.
Well,
That's right.
you already did that, and I have to tell you, you have no idea. I sometimes wish you all could be in our house.
I know.
Bill knows, like ever since for the past week and a half, since you know you've come into my experience. I'm like a little kid on Christmas morning, and I do. And I get chills right now. Like I say to Bill, I can't explain it, Bill, but something is happening. Something, because see, I and Bill also separately, but together.
Yeah.
I have been on this path dedicated to find out this truth for my entire life, but it has been a 100% search.
It is.
July 4th, 2000.
Yes.
On July 4th, 2000, I had a one-on-one with God, and it was ever since that moment, it's been a search. I've read every book. I gave all my stuff away. I'm like, and so it's, for me, there is a quickening that's happening right now in my mind.
It is.
And you came to me,
Jesus.
both of you, and Oliver was the one who was the door. And I know that you've listened to everything you were supposed to do. And I know, like, all of those people that were on the call the other day, they came from me. Like, and
okay, that's fine.
You have no idea what your message and your example is doing in the Course in Miracles community right now.
And we don't. And it maybe it's a good thing that we don't.
But it's so good because it was a very dusty energy where a lot of people were thinking, oh, I know something, and I feel like there's just been this insertion of light through your bodies. And that's why there was so much joy the other night in everyone that was on the call. And so all I can say is thank you with all my heart for never giving up, for staying with this message even when everyone left.
Yeah. That was
Bill,
a
wanna
man.
say anything?
I did.
She asked him a
Yes,
question.
go ahead, baby. I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
She asked
I
Oliver.
wanted to ask if Bill wanted to share anything.
Yes.
Oh, I love what you guys are all about. I also, you know what I really love? I really love your two-ness transmits as oneness. I really love how the two of you, Antoinette and Clifton, I love how you have a singular presentation, voice, even though you have separate communication devices. I love the presentation that I am feeling and hearing come from you. And I am grateful for Yolanda and Oliver for
Yeah, too.
pointing us into your direction, because I love hanging out with you. I love hanging out with you when you don't even know I'm on the screen. I love hanging out with you, just watching you. And yeah, it's true. I just love it. You are speaking my language. You're singing the voice of love for God, the love for Jesus, the love for truth, and the I am that I am portal that brings us all to the doorstep of what God is. And God is in everything that I see, because I am and you are, and everything is what God is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bill, we can, he can speak by himself. I can speak by myself, but we realize that we're better together.
You're fun. You're at total fun together. You bring it. You bring an energy of joy in this presentation that you share together. And I'm going to ask you guys to share on my conference. I'll be sending you an email letter to see if you would share in my conference that's coming up. And I may do an early half-day conference in late July, early August, but I'm doing a big conference in September. I want to ask you guys to be part
Bill,
of.
what would we talk about?
You just be yourself.
Who knows?
I don't know what that is.
Who knows what's going to happen? just bring yourself.
You know, they always, we've heard the old saying, a rose cannot smell itself. A zebra cannot change the stripes on its back.
An eyeball can't see
The
itself.
eyeball can't see itself.
A knife can't cut
A knife
itself.
can't cut itself, nor can a scale weigh itself. But I can, and I found out how I could. I stood in a place one time, and I told the pastor, I said, I think I just get rid of all pain right now.
I felt that. I felt that.
You did.
Yeah, for Bill. I felt a healing coming.
A healing
for
coming to
Bill.
you, Bill.
A healing in
Healing
your
presence
body.
around
I
you,
felt the
all over
healing
you.
in your body.
And I said, I'm going to remove all pain. And the pastor had never seen this done before. And every year he would let me do a New Year's
program.
And his name was Tom Wilkie, good guy. And I just, when people came up, I just put my hand on their head, pain go. And it got to going so good. He said, let me stop you. He said, how you do that so easy? And I know you, so who are your wife said something about you wanted to do the things that Jesus did.
Yep.
Bill, you are doing it now. But you're doing it in disguise as Clark Kent and Lois Lane. Now, and Batboy and Batman and all the Jokers and all that stuff. But now listen.
And I feel seriously, I really feel a healing coming towards you, Bill. And I'm not saying that you are sick or anything like that, but I felt that energy of healing coming toward you for a physical condition.
You chose to come here in a different mind, knowing all the hurdles and the speed
The
bumps.
hurdles.
Yeah, the jumping
You
things.
said hurdles.
Hurdles. Anyway, you jumped over them. You are the healing power
Mhm.
embodiment encased in the package.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes down to the book, you guys went through the balcony and you looked at all the books and you chose this book.
Yeah.
But now understand, you, all of us were before any pages. You were before any book.
Mhm.
You took the book, both of you, and put it in your mouth and you swallowed it.
Yeah.
God has a picture of you eating that book in the
That's right.
hall of memories.
That's right.
He's constantly walking down through the hall of eternity, looking at you, and these pictures of us are living panoramic experiences. You're going to experience a superstructure that has been built into you, a foundation that cannot be shaken. You're going to have more experiences of seeing people around you that are going to be helping you, some of the old sages and some of the old ones. I read the book, Disappearance of the Universe.
Mhm.
I read it from Rooter to Tutor.
Yeah, we did. We did. But I couldn't put it down the first time I picked it
And
up.
Me too.
I studied it, and I look at it now. Now, I don't pick these books up like I used to.
Yeah, we don't read as much now.
But what I'm really interested in is the out-of-body experience, because it has happened to me in so many ways that I do it and not even aware of it. I want to be more aware of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a whole lot of things. But I want to thank you guys for the tears that you brought to my eyes when I read the response from the people who
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
us.
Yeah, thank you, Oliver, for
Oliver
sending it to us
An
as well.
instrument for us to meet each
Yeah.
other. If I was like I was in this damn chemic, whatever this thing is,
Damn panic.
damn
Damn
panic,
panic.
I would bring you guys to my church and to my house and let you spend 3 days at least with us and listen to you talk to us about your mystical identity, your mystical self.
Yeah.
When I went to Genesis this week,
Genesis?
Genesis, the first chapter, it said in the
I thought
beginning.
you went to a place called Genesis.
Well, in Genesis, it said in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and the earth was without void and all that. And it said, and the voice of the Lord walked in the cool of the evening. This is what the story said. And it talks about how God created male and female in the image of himself. When I found out that when he leaned over and breathed the breath of life into that clay, that was us doing that. That was the breath in us coming out
Yes.
of him into Adam, and we were inside of Adam. We were him.
Yes.
There is no better place than you could be than right now. There's a part of us that says this is a mean world, and I understand who it is. And it may be there until the day we leave this place. At 72, I am looking forward to seeing more of Jesus and Christ and all the sages than I ever have.
Yeah.
I've had a chance to meet these angelic beings and these big people. I even meet babies. I've met children on the other side who came over here to meet us. But I want you to know that you guys are absolutely walking word of God to us.
Yeah.
I have no problem with you. I've had people hang up on me on the telephone and call me the monkey in the tree. And I had people tell me to go to hell. I said, I don't want to go to your house. I said, I've already been there and I didn't like it and I came out.
I told Oliver this morning, I think it was this morning I talked to him, and he and Yolanda, that it's been years since we've had validation. So this is kind of a surprise and a shock to us that this many people are saying that the message is resonating with them. So, you know, it's really, for us, this is it's like a new experience. I won't say new, but it's one we haven't had in a long, long time. So
when I was a little boy, my uncle used to take a bath in a big old foot tub in front of a big old tall one morning heater, and he was really mean. He was mean as just Jesse James, and
Mhm.
he was taking a bath, and he used Clorox in his water, and he was standing there taking a bath.
Didn't that burn?
Yeah, I guess it did, but he smelled like Clorox all the time, and so so he was standing there in front of that one morning, and it was naked as a yard dog. I mean, just plumb outdoors, yard dog naked. And I was sitting up on the bed looking at him.
How old were you?
I was about 4, 5 maybe. And I remember when I first started walking. I remember the place I was born in. And I looked at his butt, and I looked at that poker iron that was sitting there. And I said, I wonder what it would be like if I take that poker iron and stick it to his butt.
Did you brand it?
I just reached over there and grabbed it. I laid the wood to it, boy. I burnt out in the steam, but it scared excuse my French, it scared the hell out of him. And he just stood there paralyzed. He just looked at me. He couldn't move.
Oh my God.
And I just dropped it just like that. He didn't hit me. He didn't do anything.
He's
Just left it
probably
there
in
like that.
shock.
Oh, good.
Probably
That's
in
good.
shock.
That's good.
But,
I just want to say the other day when I find something that is really the truth, this is what I feel like. I have been given this gift in time and states of enthusiasm. And I just love telling people about people who I have found.
Mhm.
And so the other day I posted online that you don't know this yet, but that I am your brand new self-appointed new publicity director. And I have given myself the role, and I am going to continue to tell people about you. And
but you don't know that much about us.
And listen, thank your people for us for
I
giving.
will.
They gave generously to our ministry, and that really was a blessing.
Now we got a building that's on hold right now, and
A space releasing.
space releasing.
Yeah. Mhm.
and I want to get back in it, but I don't know how I'm going to do it because we just got word today about the payments on the building. And
well, the thing is like right now online, you're reaching around the world, and your videos, because you're putting them on YouTube, they are literally reaching around the world. So your ministry is reaching a lot of people right now. And like Bill doesn't know this part. I read a lot, and I read in the bathtub every single night. And last night Bill had gone to bed, and I was in the bathtub, and there was like this, there were these questions in this book. And so the question was, think of 3 surprise locations you may be connected with. And Bill and I, we are living in a house in Maine, but we're like, the lease is up next May. And we have been thinking, where do we go next? Do we stay here? If the owners want to sell the house, do we go to Florida? So we're just like, we're like wide open where we could go. And the first thing I wrote down was North Carolina. Linda and Oliver and Kristen.
Are you sure?
Lord.
This is the Bible.
I'm always thinking, like, where's the weather good? Where's my people? Where would it be nice? Where? Bill didn't even know this. He's hearing it for the first time.
For the
Right
first time.
now. I was like, where am I connected to?
Oh, Bill.
Oh,
We
well,
have good weather here.
Bible Belt.
Yeah, we have good weather here.
Uh,
So
Say it
You
again.
have good weather there?
we have good weather. We have all,
It's pretty
we
warm
actually
today.
have all 4 seasons.
mhm.
So our winters are not incredibly harsh.
Right.
Our summers can be hot, but we also have, we have the beach and the mountains in our
I know,
state.
exactly.
So we can get to, we have the best of everything.
But you have hurricanes and all that kind of stuff?
So we have tornadoes.
Once in a while, there'll be a tornado come through.
And
We're too far.
Yeah, and on rare occasions, they have to be horrific hurricanes that will actually come on shore. We have had those. Andrew was one of those, but that was years ago.
But
So
not direct hits. No.
No.
We're
inland.
We're like 200 miles inland.
Mhm.
So when we have hurricanes that come into the East Coast, by the time it gets to us, it's like a tropical storm.
Now,
I
Asheville,
saw that, Oliver, I saw your winter photo. That made me laugh so hard because your winter photo was like that much snow on the ground.
yeah.
Here.
Yeah, and I was about to say that Asheville is
Yeah.
where is a spiritual hub of North Carolina.
Yeah.
The mountains.
Yeah, it's in the mountains, and now they do have a harsher winter, but it's beautiful country, and that's where they do a lot of the conferences, spiritual conferences up in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with that area, with Asheville.
Yeah.
You used to come that way.
Well, let me say this, just as a silent observer from both perspectives. This whole pandemic thing has stirred up a tremendous amount. I mean, it is the signal that a tremendous change has taken place, and
Somewhat.
and then behind that came the racial issues and all the other stuff. But I heard Lisa start, and I had a private conversation with Bill, and then I've heard Lisa publicly say that there's something that we're supposed to be doing with all of this, where the race issue was concerned. I don't know what it is, but it seemed like there's something that we're supposed to be doing different. Anyway, something. But we're staring in both of you, Bill and Lisa. But then on the other side with the Sawyers, we have been hanging around them for about a year and a half, and we've always known that their message was universal. And it wasn't just for the 40, 50 people that they're speaking to week in and week out.
So while we did not go to their church, I have 3 sisters. I'm 2 of 4. And all my 3 sisters were members of their church. So this is how and they would invite us to various functions. So even though we weren't at their church, we knew what was going on because they're talking about it, they're sharing books, they're, just the whole 9 yards.
So, so I knew what was going on with the Sawyers in terms of the message had to get out beyond the confinement that they've been operating in. But I knew that they've been hurt by what happened to them in the past, or felt betrayed, but now they understand that was part of the plan to bring us to this very moment today. So, and I told them shortly after I got back with them a year and a half ago that you guys have been preparing for this to minister around the world because you got this message that people and you can deliver it in such a way that it relaxes everybody. One reason people can't accept truth because they're too tense. But you guys have this spirit that relaxes people. Lisa, you have that presence too. And so this this damn panic or pandemic or whatever really was the instrument to bring your meeting together. You guys come together. And it's fulfilling to Lisa and Bill's heart and the question that was coming up in them, what are we to do? How can we help? And it's fulfilling to the Sawyers in terms of, I heard them say several times, is this all it is? Are we through? Is this only the impact we're gonna have? They've said that several occasions, but then right on the heels of that, they would say, well, I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, that's right.
So I've seen both
Seen the whole thing.
perspectives, and then when Lisa text me or email me and say, oh my God, Oliver, who are these people?
Yeah, right.
And then
I wish you could see me at home. I mean, what you see online is nothing compared to what Bill is seeing.
so Yolanda and I have been just sitting back, observing,
Yeah.
watching this emerge, because it was supposed to be this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is the ingredients or the download for both of you guys and the work that you're doing in the world. It's a collaboration.
Yep.
And without this collaboration, there will be many that will be lost.
Yep.
But because of the collaboration, there will be many, innumerable people will wake up as a result of your collaboration.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah. Now, are you guys got another appointment after this?
Not, I mean, not, I have things I need to do. I have some calls to make.
Yeah, I'm good too. Like I was gonna make dinner soon, but I don't have any calls or anything. I wanted to say just what Oliver, what you just said is so true. And there is something in collaboration. Like that's how the Course in Miracles, like, I don't know, Clifton and Antoinette, if you know, but the Course in Miracles came through two people. One was an atheist, Helen Schuckman, but the point, and that's what this call is. Like we might think, oh, we're just on a call.
Yeah.
This literally is a meeting of vibration where we meet in this point in time and with an agreement for a single purpose. And we don't have to figure out what we do next, but that we somehow were all brought together. And the point where Helen and Bill, they were having a lot of conflict within their workplace at Columbia University, and they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't solve it, lots of infighting. And before the meeting started, Bill stood outside of the door, said to Helen, there must be a better way.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that we have to change ourselves and see things differently. And he said, I have decided that in this meeting, I'm not waiting for the meeting to change and people to change. I'm going to listen. I'm going to not have judgment. And she said, I join you. And later, Jesus, the voice that brought the Course in, said that was the exact point. They're joining and saying, yes, there must be a better way. And I'm going to be the change I'm waiting for that allowed the message to start coming through Helen. And so, you know, I have the same thing that Oliver was just expressing of I have a 100% dedication. I have given everything to help people, to be the voice in the wilderness, to just say, here I am, Lord, I'll do anything. And I say, where is everybody? Why isn't, I don't get it. Why is nobody listening? And I'm comforted by these stories in the Bible of 40 years. Like we can't do this work until we have a solid foundation where we are unwavering. And so the events, the reason I've been getting so excited in the past week and a half, there's a bunch of different factors of people, not a lot, like I haven't had a lot of people, but I have been bullied in the last couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago. And I thought, like people saying, you have to fight, you have to say this, you have to be anti-racist, you have to do this. You have a responsibility. People listen to you, Lisa. They follow you. And if you're putting a message out that you're not anti anything, because I'm pro everything.
Right.
I'm not anti, I'm pro. And I've always been vocal for everyone. So for me, something shifted when I was like, it was what you said, Clifton, a little while ago. Like, I don't care about being famous.
No.
It was this moment where I was like, I am not going to compromise this message to be liked, to people please. I don't care if I lose my entire mailing list. I don't care if, and it was this moment of just like, I'm free. And you keep saying the path of freedom. So I've been feeling in the last couple of weeks an enormous shift happening. And that's why the excitement for me, because I was like, oh my God, yay. People who are, and Bill and I talk a lot. Bill's been asking me a lot lately. He goes, Lisa, who among the Course in Miracle teachers is, how do you say it, Bill? How do you say it? It's like, who do you think is really living this message? We can't find anybody.
Who are the great teachers? And frankly, I haven't met any Black teachers that I really love and want to support. So I didn't find any for my last conference. And you know, a beautiful, a great friend of mine who's a Black woman that Oliver, you know, Freedom, right? And we're like brothers and sisters. She wrote me, she said, Bill, I love you, brother, but I got one problem with your roster conference. There's no people of color on there. There's no one Black on there. And what's up? And so I called her. I said, Freedom, you're so right. I don't know how I missed that. I didn't put Black people on my list. I just put great course teachers, and I don't know any, but you guys are that. And then I thought, well, I need to bring Oliver in because that guy can teach, man. And so right here on a silver platter, because my beautiful friend said, hey, Bill, wake up over there. And I'm going, I need some people of color to bring this message that are going to, because I have a responsibility as the organizer and the founder of Pure Presence Productions, a conference organizer. I have a responsibility to be diverse and to include everyone, just like our brother Jesus does. Yeah. And color doesn't, I don't look for color. I just want to have the message of truth transmitted. And it just happens to be when they are pointed to me in Black bodies, awesome. Brown bodies, awesome. Yellow bodies, awesome. Come on. And so I'm just really happy that Oliver brought you guys to us, and also Yolanda and Oliver. I love you guys too. And I love the way you show up in this world. And I am just thrilled to have you in mine and Lisa's life.
And Bill, I'm praying that inward, I'm praying that one day those who are listening to you will not even see the necessary or the need for particular color.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But for that person and maybe others, they do. It does matter to them. But at some point, it should not matter.
Yes.
What color is in front of them.
Yes. Yes. Well, but for those that are Black, those that are yellow, brown, whatever, when they see that we represent the whole, and what I love about you guys is that you also have that Christian mysticism. So you have that other part that I totally resonate with. You bring in some of the scripture in that has the real truth underneath it, the truth of oneness that's transmitted. And you just happen to be in colorful bodies, and I'm just blessed to be able to bring you into what we're doing over here.
Yeah, I love colors, so it doesn't matter to
Bill, me. God leaned down and gave you a kiss.
Yes.
And you are living off of the energy of his sugar.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah, Lisa said yesterday in her Healing Cure session that she said, I don't know how it happened, but it's like these people just popped up into my awareness. And when you said that, what I heard myself say, Lisa, was you call them, Lisa, because it's been in your heart.
Yep.
Yes.
And that compassion.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's the form that you call for.
And I have to admit too, Oliver, that you guys and Lisa and Bill, all of you, the four of you, are actually calling us.
Yeah.
Or presenting to us another calling. Because like we had shared with you guys before, we felt like, okay, we're finished. This is it.
Yeah, I'm retired.
Started.
Yeah,
I'm retired.
we really felt like we were ready to just retire it. We're
Yeah.
okay just being at home and whatever, and what we didn't have an aspiration to do anything else. Although we were wondering what would the second chapter of our life be.
Yep.
So you guys are our calling at this point. You're
Yeah.
calling us from the backside of the desert, as Bill said we are. And I realize that he is a mystic. And I think because I'm a shotgun buddy, I'm probably a mystic too. But yeah, you're our calling. You're our calling right now. And we'll answer the call. We'll do what we have to do and do that, fulfill it.
Nice.
Thank you.
And
I see it like Course in Miracles has particular teachers that are fairly well known. People just go, oh yes, you know, and it's been like that for a very long time. Well, I have the privilege to facilitate private groups. I have a program that's called the Healing Cure, and it's basically to identify with your true self consistently, to make a decision.
Wow.
So I have 400 people in this group, and the people who, and Oliver knows this because you're on the calls, the people who are in these groups, and also we have another one called Living in Purpose, and it's the same with those guys. These are unknown people who are quietly doing the work, who I think are better teachers than the well-known teachers. That's what I think. And so I'm always on the lookout for voices. Not that it's needed. It's not even needed. Like all the work that's being done has already been done in the one mind.
Yeah.
And we're just listening for, okay, what's my next step? Use my hands, use my voice, use me to be the total presence of love and God on earth.
God has given us favor to reach some of the most difficult people in the ministry, some of the most
Hard to reach people.
hard to reach people. When I used to order the best books that I used to order, I go back in the back of the book and order the ones that they use for reference
to write the book.
And I end up calling some of the most influential healing preachers. And then I got over into the jazz music, and I started calling George Benson and Earl Carew and all them guys. And Chet Atkins, you know him, before he died. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you heard of Chet Atkins.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a chance to talk to him on the phone.
So I've always said he's got a red telephone somewhere.
But I picked up the phone the other night. I tell you this is good. My mom is over on the other side, and I know she can hear us now, but I was running through my numbers, and I saw her number, and I thought I'd call her. And do you know when I dialed that number, the thing was busy? I put it down.
Would have been something she picked up.
Oh my God! I'd have called on baby Jesus' cousin, uncle, niece, and grandma's boy, all the grandchildren.
Oh,
Lord have mercy on my soul.
God. Well, listen, you guys, we've been on here a long time, and his shoulders beginning to hurt. So we would love to stay longer, but I think he needs to get a little rest with it and a little medication in it to help him with his shoulder, some ice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also just wanted to say one thing too. I mean, I super appreciate Sunday mornings at 10 and Tuesdays at 7.
Mm-hmm.
But you can even check in with yourself because you're recording now. So I don't know if you just do 2 different time zones or if you're really feeling guided to do it. But
I don't know anything about that, but she does.
I know more about that. Yeah. Than he does. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm going to keep sending people your way, and people right now really need a place where they're connected with others and connected in the truth. And that's
So let me make sure I understand what you just mentioned to me, Lisa. Are you saying that possibly consider doing some different times?
Nope, not doing different times, but it's like if two times a week feels too much, like really, like Bill and I did once a week on Friday mornings, and that was because everything's recorded nowadays and everyone watches the recording. So I just had a thought the other day that if it feels like it's too much for you, or if you feel like you're not really guided to do that much teaching a week, you know,
You mean the Sunday and the Tuesday?
Mhm.
Oh, no, we've been doing that forever, so that's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Now,
okay.
I taught one of my classes on where the scripture talks about being led by the Spirit, the walk of the Spirit.
Mhm.
The further you go into your true identity, the less problem you're going to have with lead poisoning. Now,
Lead poisoning.
yeah, lead poisoning. Lead poisoning is paraphrasing.
Oh, got it. Okay, I'm slow. I'm slow.
Yeah, you got it. Your guidance is a gyro system
Yeah.
that's interwoven, incorporated into the essence of your eternal self.
I
Yes.
call it undetectable guidance.
It's
Yeah.
spider sense, but your guidance is your hidden self, and you must introduce your self to yourself. That's what I'm going to say.
Mhm.
And when you have come to a place where the temperature or there's some loaded words that the priest could use to get into the sanctuary or the tabernacle in the wilderness. They had code sounds. That's what music is for. Music is supposed to be for codes and translation of nonverbal words that move by vibrational sounds and colors. So when you get into this area where you win yourself, the first being you have to win to God is yourself. That self that believes that God and you have always been separated. But that's a big lie. That's a big story. That's an illusion. You've never been separated, and you can't be. It's impossible. I told God one time, I said, I finally found out something you can't do. I said, I know where you are now. I said, you think you got the upper end on me, but I said, I got something on you. I know your address. I know the street you live on. I know the size of shoes you wear. I know the kind of car you drive. I know what you eat. I know the whole thing about you. I said, you can't hide from me anymore. He said, well, what is it? I said, you can't lie. And I just stopped right there. He didn't say that to me. He just looked at me, and I looked at him. One of the most amazing things is to hear God laugh inside of you. I was fixing some banisters and some swirling stairs in the house and putting banisters and banister posts up. And I wanted them fixed a certain way. And when I got to the almost finishing of it, God laughed at me. He laughed inside of me. He said, ha, 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 ha. What are you laughing at? He laughed at me. I said, I said, I got you again, didn't I? I like to do things to get his attention, and
That's funny.
So anyway, I look at my dog and I can see God in my dog as light.
Yeah.
And when I'm hoping that I'm gonna ask you this funny quick. Do y'all get people to come to a certain physical geographical place to meet?
We did, but then we got guidance.
Not anymore. Yeah.
We don't do it anymore. So I have to tell you what's been happening to me over the last couple of months, or maybe even leading up to a year, but this pandemic has been the best thing for me ever.
It has for us
It's been the
too.
best thing for the whole church.
We were traveling a lot. People wanted us there physically. And I'm getting guidance to just go more quiet.
Okay, that's it.
Here in this house, we live in a very quiet location. We live in the forest, at the ocean. We got our 2 cats. It's just me, Bill, and the cats. And
you see any deer?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I saw one this morning.
I'll have to send you yesterday. It's so funny. It's so funny you just asked me that. Because yesterday.
Oh, she feeds them. She talks to them. They love her.
The deer? Really?
Yeah. They stand still while she tells them how much she loves them. They just stand there and look at her.
I want to talk to them. I've been talking all the time.
Yeah. They love her voice.
Oh,
just like I do.
They come up and let you feed them?
No, not feed them, but they get within 20 feet of her car and just listen to her while she says, "I love you.
Oh,
Hello, honey. I love you."
Yeah.
And they'll just sit there while she's got her window of her car down.
That's funny.
these are big ones.
Yeah, she had 2 of them on her phone there that she recorded.
I think I accidentally deleted. I don't know if you can see it, but this is how close he got the other day.
Wow, that's really close.
They come right up to the car.
It's like
I literally-
Disneyland.
I
Yeah.
go outside every single day, and there's usually a family of like 6 or 7 or 8.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
a bunch of
we
them.
have them coming through our neighborhood like that too.
See a
But
lot
I'm
of rabbits,
just
see a lot
feeling
of
like
rabbits.
to be quiet. That's been what I've been lately. Is just like I'm really being called within to do all the work in my mind, and I'm here if I need to use the body and go out, but I'm not feeling I need to do anything anymore.
Yeah.
We never did tell you guys how the Lord taught us how Noah communicated with the animals in the ark, did we?
Maybe that's
No.
another time.
Well, anyway, we had a dog named Dooley, and
No, my mom and dad had a dog.
he
named
stayed behind
Dooley,
our
and we
mobile
had
home.
a mobile home, and Dooley's lot or pen was right
next to
behind
our window.
our mobile home.
Mhm.
And we had compassion on Dooley because my mom and dad didn't have to take care of him, but he was really, really old.
Mhm.
And so we kind of fed him once in a while or whatever. And one
Mhm.
night we were sleeping. Now you go
I
ahead.
just come in out of work. I work from 4 to 12, and Dooley was really mistreated bad, and so the moon was bright through the bay window.
We were sleeping.
We were sewing logs. I mean, we saw a lot of sawdust go down up under the bed with them logs and sleeping and snowing. And Dooley said, "Roof." And when he said one bark, here's what he said. Translate it now. He said, "I am tired of being tied on this chain. I don't want to be tied on this chain any longer."
And we
Called
both heard
He
it.
heard his voice, said, "Call the dog man to come and get me. I'm ready to go home."
Yeah. So we've had all these joint experiences as well.
She said, "Don't tell nobody this."
I know I told her, don't tell
I
anybody.
don't care. They just gonna have to hear it, but it's
I said, they're
true.
going to think we're crazy.
It's real. I
Well,
had
before,
I know it's true.
I had a chance to talk to a
Wait, David.
wait a minute.
Oliver was about to
Wait
say
a minute.
something.
Wait, quick, I don't mind. A retriever. You ever heard of retrievers?
Oh yeah.
Not dog retrievers. People who retrieve people.
So Richard.
Soul retrievers. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
I had a chance to communicate with one and was a good friend of mine on the phone. And he gave me some of his books, but he's over there on the other side now. Some of the most amazing retrievers are in the earth now, and they disguise themselves as earth angels. I've had a chance to meet some of them. Okay, go ahead. Oliver, you're going to say something.
no, I was just going to say before we jumped off that Bill and Lisa, I'm going to be sending you information that you can have about the Sawyers and the Cornerstone, so
Oh,
that
good.
so that in the future, if you're trying to share information, you can be very exact. Because
Yeah, good.
he was asking me, so I'm going to be sending you their website, their YouTube channel, their email address, their Facebook channel, how to donate, and I'll also send you their personal phone numbers.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And do the same for us. That sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you all. Well, I'm going to get off. I'm going to get off here, and I appreciate. I'm so glad I got to meet both of you in person.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
Yolanda, I'm so happy that I got to see you right here with Oliver also. And
I'm usually running behind supporting.
Yeah, you're
I'm,
the behind
I'm
the
doing
scenes.
stuff, I'm crawling in here so you guys can't see me
Not
on
there.
camera.
Hey.
So anyway, until the next time.
Yep.
This has been wonderful.
This has.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
All right.
I'm just so happy. All right. So
Love you all.
Guys.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you for a great. This has been a great joining for us,
Yeah.
for all of us. I really appreciate it. This is the love of God wrapping itself around all of us, and I really appreciate you
Yes,
guys coming to do it with us. It's been awesome.
Thank
Yeah, I always say
I love you all.
We love you
Hold
too.
everything in the middle of the road, tied down on both sides. Don't take no wooden nickels. No, you got no strange toilets.
That's right. Okay, brother.
All right,
love you.
bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.